Hello, you guys. Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to another episode of No More Kids in Scientology. You guys, No More Kids in Scientology. And today we want to get into reacting to this story from Ola. Ola is Suri Cruise using a new name. Suri starred in a stage play and listed a different name on the call sheet. And wouldn't you know that as one of Tom Cruise's kids separates from him, we did get to get a photo of Tom and his other kids, the Scientology kids, the one that he's still connected to. So that's what we want to discuss today. This whole dysfunctional family dynamic going on and advocating against the intrusion of Scientology, how a literal hotel chain is the one that it really is being tapped to make decisions between parents and children and who talks to who. So here's from Ola magazine, you guys. Suri Cruise might be using a new name in her personal life. The daughter of Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise, who grew up as one of the most famous toddlers in the public eye, is going through one of the biggest moments of change in her life. She recently celebrated her 18th birthday and has many decisions to make in her future, including what careers she wants to pursue and whether or not she's going to go to college. According to our sister website Hello, Suri might be identifying with a different name. She recently starred in a stage performance of Head Over Heels in New York City, where she was supported by her mother and her grandparents, Martin and Kathleen. Shout out to those grandparents who did move Earth, rock, and the entire universe to ensure that their granddaughter wasn't going to end up ensnared in this disgusting, sick culture. So shout out to Martin and Kathleen, who, thanks to them, Suri did not have to grow up under the policies of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard. Her name was listed on the casting sheet as Suri Noelle, opting to drop her famous last name. Noelle is her mother's middle name, a gesture that demonstrates the tie bond that the two share and that they've built over the course of their life together in the city. So, shout out to them. They do look pretty happy. Suri's artistic pursuits, she seems to be interested in the arts, having various credits as an actress in different stage performances, including Head Over Heels and a high school production, The Addams Family, a new musical where she played the role of Morticia Addams. She's also a talented singer, performing a cover of the song Blue Moon for her mother's film, Alone Together. Suri also appears to be interested in fashion, with her considering pursuing it as a career in college. Whatever path she chooses, she has plenty of resources and talent at her disposal. I mean, and again, you guys, we're looking at the success story, right? We're looking at the fact that this is a kid that did grow up in Scientology. Because remember, the first 5 years of Suri's life were spent within the Scientology toxic ecosystem, where she was, subjected to assists, including but not limited to. I mean, they're always trying to figure out what they can give to the kids. So even though she didn't do like the courses and things like that, still the assist and all of that stuff is something that we are calling out for the kids themselves. Like, we do not want having kids doing disgusting assist with people telling us to feel their finger and, things like that that are just weird. They're very, very weird. So this other article, which juxtaposes how I guess Tom Cruise is trying to divert the attention about that lost bond that he has with his daughter, which does get called out here and there by the press, although they're doing a pretty wishy-washy job, you guys. I mean, you guys tell us what you really see the press doing with this. Again, the press and the artists are always using each other for these kind of stuff. So here we have from the Daily Mail, exclusive. Tom Cruise is seen posing along his two adopted children and fellow Scientologists Isabella and Connor in first public snap together since 2009. Guys, Tom Cruise has not been snapped with his two kids since 2009. Tom Cruise and adopted children Isabella 31 and Connor 29 are seen posing together in a group photo shared by NFL legend Derek Brooks in December. It's the first public snap of the actor 61 with his two eldest kids, whom he shares with ex-wife Nicole Kidman since 2009. Cruise has maintained a close bond with Bella and Connor, who were raised Scientologists, but is estranged from his biological daughter, Suri, 18. I mean, since 2009, this man has not even been photographed with his other kids, and he is nowhere to be found in the life of his actual daughter. Exactly. Clearly doing it to invalidate Suri. I mean, this is the type of SIG game that is played in the hotel, you guys. I mean, they're not a Scientologist, then they're literally not going to save a world. So they are human garbage, breathing air and wasting time and, having nothing to do with clearing a planet and saving a world. But again, Scientology parents, including Tom Cruise, really double check. In what world are you saving a world, Tom Cruise, while children are ending up enslaved at industrial size scales inside of disgusting hotels, including but not limited to Celebrity Center, the Manor Hotel, the Fort Harrison Hotel, the Sandcastle Hotel, the Yachtsman Hotel, the Mariner Hotel, the student motels. Plenty of motels where children are ending up with, believe it or not, Tom Cruise, unconscionable, unthinkable billion-year contracts. Imagine that. Imagine being you that has so many lawyers on speed dial and none of them are checking out the contracts of the minors that do not have a shred of legal representation when they get ensnared in the disgusting hotels where their parents put them there. You would know that, Tom Cruise. You would know how many parents have been donating their underage kids to this hotel operation. Because you know what? You could just be like, "What's up, Dave? How many parents donate children to the Sea Org to really save a world?" Uh-huh. And has anyone ever checked the type of contracts that they're being given to minors to, sign? Uh-huh. And can you send me a copy of that contract that's being signed by minors, Dave? Because that would be really great if you really just send it right away to my attorneys. Because you know what? They just want to double check that the hotels are not being just staffed with, minors from all across the world. Tom Cruise's bond with his adopted children with ex-wife Nicole Kidman appears to be as strong as ever, with the three pictured together for the first time in 15 years. 15 years. The doting dad, 61, can be seen posing in a group photo with his daughter Isabella, 31, and son Connor, 29, last year, the only public snap of the trio since they were last photographed at a soccer game in Los Angeles in 2009. Unlike his actress ex, the Mission Impossible star has maintained a close relationship with their three children, with their children through the youth and into adulthood following the couple's divorce in 2001, but it is a far cry from the relationship he shares with his biological daughter, with his second wife, Katie Holmes, Suri, who turned 18 on April 18. And it's reported to be estranged from her dad for well over a decade. And here's a little photo snap. You guys, here it is. Tom Cruise is seen posing in a group photo with adopted daughter Isabella and Connor. The Mission Impossible star was publicly photographed both with his eldest children in 2009 when they attended a soccer game in Los Angeles. There's father of the millennia, of the century, paid protege of L. Ron Hubbard, convicted felon. There he is. There he is with the kids again. The severed relationship is believed to be largely due to the fact that Suri is not a Scientologist like her older half-siblings and her father. The unearthed photo was shared on Instagram by NFL legend Derek Brooks, whose foundation, grab a hold of your vomit bag, has links to Scientology. Before a hockey game between Tampa Bay Lightning and Florida Panthers on December 28th. The former Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker, now 51, captioned a post, "Good evening. Wow, look who stopped by my office before our game tonight. Tom Cruise. I was a little starstruck, but I played it cool, and he said he was too." The retired athletes organization, Derek Brook Charities, grab your vomit bag again, you guys, once used a Scientology program for mentoring event on human rights for young women that was held at the Scientology affiliated United for Human Rights in Clearwater, Florida, also the base for Scientology's global headquarters. I mean, they really definitely still are very pressed to be targeting the youth. So for all of you wondering if kids are still ensnared inside Scientology hotels, well, they certainly are targeting them. Literally, now we have that Derek Brook Charities is on a program with Scientology to so-called mentor human rights of young women, where they are using Scientology's Clearwater Hotel in Florida as a place to really gather up. And in 2016, the nonprofit celebrated UNICEF International Day of the Girl at Scientology's Clearwater Fort Harrison Hotel, which was publicized on Scientology's website. Oh, isn't that great, you guys? Let's check out Scientology's literal publication. I mean, why not literally see the receipts of who they're targeting so that everybody that is really wondering if the problem is still relevant, for any of those that are still just, really scratching their head because they go, you know what? It couldn't be that this is still just being done with full impunity and full, complete, unhinged derangement, as all the kids that have already come forward on YouTube trying to sound the alarm code red could still be being done. I mean, of course, it's the year 2024. I'm sure so many protections are being found for kids, right, guys? But wrong. Wrong answer. Very, very wrong answer. Here it is. Young women celebrate and learn their rights at the International Day of the Girl event at the Fort Harrison. Woo! I mean, there you go, you guys. I mean, take a look at this. This is Scientology's literal Fort Harrison hotel. So for anybody that thinks that is not a hotel, this is literally a hotel in Clearwater. And here's the women that they're targeting. Here's the women that Scientology is targeting. And here's the women that Scientology is, what is it, going to really teach them about their rights. Imagine the false pitch of these people claiming to be really teaching rights when they had children locked up, ensnared in these unconscionable environments, you guys. Like, what in the literal hell? A group of young ladies from the Derek Brooks Foundation enjoyed their day just for them at the International Day of the Girl event at the Fort Harrison downtown Clearwater. So you see that this little relationship, from this whatever NFL man, that's the Buccaneers, whatever, October 12, 2016, was already organizing gatherings at the hotel for these girls. Over 130 young ladies from several Tampa Bay organizations enjoyed a day just for them on Saturday, on the 8th of October, when they celebrated the International Day of the Girl at Scientology's Clearwater Fort Harrison Hotel. Isn't that great, you guys? That these people really do hold a lot of international days of the girl at a hotel. Where, guess what? The girls, the underage girls that are in the Sea Org, they're not seeing a lot of rights for themselves. Yeah, whenever they get told that, oh, you got pregnant? Oh, you know what? You wouldn't want to now stop saving a world, would you? Would you want to stop saving a world and have a baby? Or would you just want to go to Planned Parenthood and, continue helping us save our world? And with a straight face are then also targeting the young ladies being provided by this linebacker of the Buccaneers, whatever. I mean, literally, the hell. The Day of the Girl was established by the United Nations in 2012 to ensure a world free of discrimination for young women and girls. Gracia Banish, president of the United for Human Rights Florida, opened the event welcoming the guests. She spoke of how women must ensure that they don't accept inequality. Damn. Imagine being you, Gracia Banish, president of the United for Human Rights Florida, and you are speaking here. I mean, again, all these human rights people that don't have access to Google, you guys, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we need to start donating more money to these charities, right? Because they just have no funds to GTS, to Google that literal shit. Because there's nothing to see, right? I mean, Scientology's a very valid 501c. The IRS did tell us that they're very, very valid, that they're valid beyond belief. I mean, literally. So here's a false pitch of Ms. Gracia Banish. Today, confronting the challenges of gender inequality and women empowerment is here to stay, says Ms. Banish. This is a huge subject as it touches the very fabric of life. Women throughout the world are realizing that they have human rights, the rights to education, equal pay for equal work, reproductive rights, the right not to be enslaved or tortured, the right to democracy. Gracia Banish. In what world can you pitch this with a straight face? While children are literally being enslaved and tortured in the hotel where you're blabbing your mouth. to really talk about women empowerment. I mean, what kind of president of the United for Human Rights Florida is this? Gracia Banish really talking about torture and enslavement at a hotel where that was happening to us. Gracia, just in case you didn't know. Plenty, hundreds of kids enslaved at that hotel while you're blabbing your mouth. Tortured, locked up against their will inside of these hotel rooms, being video recorded, being asked disgusting, unthinkable sexual questions that the case supervisors really were pressed to know. Right? Nothing like empowering a minor by getting some grown-ass adult inside of a hotel to write up disgusting questions for them to have to answer. So, in what world are you really talking about women and you being part of some sort of human rights for Florida, whatever? Several stories were told of young women making a difference in their own ways, like an 8-year-old girl who wrote to President Obama to get his help in cleaning up this lead-filled water in her small city of Flint, Michigan, and actually getting his help. Or the girl who raised up $100,000 selling lemonade to support a nonprofit fighting human trafficking. You guys, is an 8-year-old raising $100,000? Is she not being human trafficked at that point? In what world is a young girl raising $100,000 selling lemonade and really donating the proceeds to anti-human trafficking things? And you guys see how Scientology grabs all these talking points, talks about an 8-year-old writing to President Obama to really help with the cleanup of water in Flint and human trafficking this and human trafficking that, but they're human trafficking. So why are they advocating for human trafficking if they're human trafficking? That would be really great to start understanding right about now. In what world are the human traffickers advocating to not have trafficking happen? Because that would be really great to really understand. Dylan Pires, Community Affairs Director of Scientology. Oh, shout out to Dylan Pires. You guys, I mean, who knows if he's still there, but at the time, they do have a Community Affairs Director. So these are the people that are safe pointing, really working with the community to really show them, oh, you see, we're not that weird. We're really not that weird, you guys. We really are all about the community here. So this man says the doors of the Fort Harrison Hotel are open for nonprofit organizations and any other charities that are doing what is needed to correct abuses and build a better community. Wow, Dylan Pires. Imagine being a literal, just what type of liar can you be when you know in your hotel, in your literal Fort Harrison hotel, you're after recruiting minors every week, every Thursday before 2, you checking how many did you get that week. So once again, for the people that go, oh, is it really still happening? It happens every week. These people run from Thursday to Thursday. So right before Thursday 2, they go, oh, let's check the statistics, you guys. Let's check. And they go, oh, look here. This is our statistics. See, here's our statistic. Here we just recruited 5. So we start with 5 here at the bottom. 5. So we were very down stat and non-existent down here. Okay, so this is down stat, bad. Oh, but look here, we did do 10. So here they gave days off for this week. They recruited 10. And let's say that out of these 10, 4 of them were minors. And out of these 5, let's just say 1 of them was a minor. And then their statistic crashed again. So they're going to be in ethics trouble again because they only recruited 5 people again. So they went from being downstat to being upstat to crashing their statistic again. But don't you worry, they got so much bathroom scrubbing of floors here that next week they made up high achievement. 20 people they recruited this week. They're counting it. Every single week this is being counted by them. And out of this 20, we got lucky because you know what? 14 of them are minors under the age. We just got really lucky. There was this group from Costa Rica that really signed up to come, save a world by enslaving themselves. And then they crashed their statistics back to 5. So back to, you guys are literal stat crashers. You're going back to the galley. You're going back to cleaning dishes. You're going to wash dumpsters with a toothbrush. And then that worked because then guess what, you guys? Look here. They recruited 40 people the next week. So now they're all the way up to here. So how many people are we at? Here's 5, 10 plus 5, that's 20, plus 20, that's 40, plus 5, that's 45, plus 40, that's 80 people. 80 people being human trafficked by the Scientology hotels that are open for any charity that really wants to come in. Any of them. They just literally cannot wait. And let's not miss this pitch, you guys. Let's not miss this pitch right here about the Fort Harrison Religious Retreat. Since the construction in 1927, the Fort Harrison has been the home to many charitable events and community organizations. The Fort Harrison's hotel current owner is Scientology and has hosted over 500 community events there since its top to bottom restoration in 2009. Imagine being all those Clearwater, Florida people tapping and partnering with Scientology. Because, they get a free hotel. Not great, you guys? How many nonprofits out there would love the opportunity for a free hotel? A hotel staffed with minors being tapped to be the slaves. Never mind that, they're very careful to show them this, but not to show them that. They can see this floor, but they can see that. No one's allowed to wander around the halls. So don't forget. Scientology was founded by humanitarian and philosopher and convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard, who incorporated it in 1954. It has since expanded to more than 11,000 hotels, commercial buildings, and affiliated groups in 167 nations. Imagine these people want to purport that they're legitimate because, didn't you see that we're in 167 countries? Don't you see how valid we are? Don't you see how we really are saving a literal world inside of this, hotel, that we're also, letting charities come in and really participate and really lend a name and really save point? Because that brings us right back to this little nugget where we do see that apparently Derek Brooks, retired athlete Derek Brooks, has been using Scientology to, really collaborate. In 2016, the nonprofit celebrated the UNICEF International Day of the Girl. The rare group photo is also suggesting Cruise's oldest daughter, Isabella, has been spending time in Clearwater. She's not been seen at her home in Croydon, England in months. So here we have, back in the day where he was with his daughter before he decided that she was a suppressive person, before he decided that cutting her off completely out of his life was in his daughter's best interest and in his best interest. Imagine being that type of man-child that you go to a hotel to be told to cut off your daughter. The actor's close bond with his adult children is a far cry from the relationship he shares with his biological daughter, Suri, who turned 18 last month and is reported to be estranged from her dad as well for over a decade. It's been suggested that Scientology may be the reason for the distance between Cruise and his young daughter following his divorce from Katie Holmes. I mean, again, with these watered down statements from the pathetic media. You guys, it's been suggested. The writings of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard are unalterable. All his paid proteges pay to follow whatever he wrote down on a piece of paper. And no one can rein it back. No one can water it down. No one can put a shred of guardrails. If the advice is unhinged from L. Ron Hubbard, then everyone around acts like a complete idiot going, this sounds great, you guys. Disconnect from your underage kids to really save our world. But here, the media is being very, very, it's been suggested. Go read the book from L. Ron Hubbard, Corporate Media. Because it's not a suggestion. Parents cut off their kids. Get that through your thick skull already. How many more kid examples of families being destroyed before the media doesn't have to just write suggested? So here's the dad with the kids. The Hollywood star picture in 2008 has maintained a close relationship with Connor and Isabella, who were raised in Scientology through their youth and into adulthood following his divorce from Kidman. Cruise and Kidman adopted Connor and Isabella in the early 1990s after Nicole suffered a pregnancy and a miscarriage and was told as a result that she might be far to conceive. And the exes agreed to join custody after their 11-year marriage ended in divorce, but behind closed doors, the kids reportedly remained loyal to their father and decided to live with him and were subsequently raised in Scientology. Well, isn't it great that the corporate media, again, you guys, I mean, you know what? Go donate to the idiots at the corporate media, because apparently they don't make enough money to also pay their Google, search. I guess, the corporate media is running on very low bandwidth of internet access to, go check out what Marty Rathbun was talking about, indoctrinating the kids to alienate them from Nicole. So really, did the kids really just decide at 8 years old that their mother was a suppressive person? A disgusting, degraded, suppressive person that wanted to destroy the world. Remember, there's no halfway nothing here. It's either you're in or you're out. So the corporate media is putting Scientology on underage kids because we decided to be there, right? Corporate media, pathetic idiots at the corporate media that keep saying that kids decide to be ensnared in this type of hotel culture from hell. Imagine being you, disgusting corporate media that just types away whatever fake pitch you want to fake pitch today to sanitize an image and, to really be in the middle of whatever in the hell you're saying you're in the middle. Because it sounds like you're completely looped out and, on a CYA mission to never report the facts because you're just not interested in the facts. You're just interested in watering it all down and pretending that you know what in the hell you're talking about. But you know what? You don't. Because the corporate media, as much money as they make on these stories, never step foot inside of the hotel. And they're just relying on sources tell us, sources told us, sources said, sources. Where's your skin in the game, corporate media? Pathetically grifting off of these stories while doing not a shred of heavy lifting for yourself. So go keep getting told by sources then. Nicole, now 56, hasn't been pictured publicly with her eldest two children since 2007. She was reportedly left devastated after the pair didn't attend her father's funeral in 2014. I know, Nicole, but you cannot be devastated that they didn't show up. Please. Stop being devastated that you left them there. Stop feeling that it was their choice. As you have also stated, we've done this reaction video, you guys. I don't know where it is. I'll have to figure it out, link it later. But Nicole Kidman pitched this as, oh yeah, I have to be very supportive. You know, if my kids want to be gay or they want to be Scientologists, you know, it's up to them and I'm going to love them no matter how hurtful it is. Never mind that being gay is not a choice, Nicole Kidman. Never mind that being ensnared in Scientology for kids is not a choice. So you're devastated they didn't come to your father's funeral. They were told he was a suppressive. They were told he was a psychiatrist. In what world were you looped out of that conversation? You were full knowing that that was the case. Both of her adult children were also notably absent last weekend when she proudly appeared on the red carpet with her husband, Keith Urban, and their daughters to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute of the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. While Connor, who is believably to be extremely loyal to his dad, didn't appear to show Nicole any public support for her achievement, daughter Bella did like one of her mother's Instagram posts celebrating the award. Yay. Like... Overall, the Kidman-Cruise kids live relatively low-key lives, but Connor is particularly seen with his father frequently supporting him on promotional tours all around the world. A source previously told People magazine that he lives a simple existence. Well, you know what? He wasn't living a simple existence. He lives in his own home in a Scientology community. His life is deep sea fishing, and he has lots of friends, and he's very well liked. Well, you know what? Before he had that simple existence, he was ensnared with a controversy of ensnaring people in a blue chase wave. But it's been alleged. I wasn't there, so I cannot speak to that. So I do have to say that is alleged. Allegedly, he was a top fundraiser, and it really rings true, you guys, because again, Scientology people is like, oh, I donated to Tom Cruise's son the other day. He came over and he told us that we really needed to save a planet, and I gave him 20 grand. Well, he would get 2 grand out of the 20 grand that they gave to the charitable reason to really save a world. So that is how he's now living, real simple. So everything is forgotten about and no context anymore. Never mind that he was super young at the time he was allegedly involved in that. In 2016, Connor told People that his parents went fishing frequently when he was growing up and said, I was blessed to travel the world as a young kid, and now I'm traveling the world working. Among Connor's other hobbies are golf. He appears to enjoy days out, of course, with his friends, according to his Instagram profile. And Bella Cruz has been based in London most of her adult life, and she liked a post celebrating her mother's accolade on Instagram. There was Nicole Kidman receives the American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Award. Appeared the red with her daughters. She shares with Keith Urban, Sunday Rose, and Faith Margaret 13. Kidman and Urban have been married since 2006. They share 2 daughters, Sunday Rose and Margaret 13, who made their red carpet debut last week's event, despite reportedly having a rift between Kidman and her oldest children, something Connor and Bella deny. The actress has previously spoken of her unconditional love for them. According to the website, Isabella hasn't updated her online art business, Bella Kidman-Cruise, since September, and her last photo shared on Instagram was from Clearwater. Her voting record in the U.S. states that she's living in the same condominium as her father, a luxury building called the Skyview, which is home to high-ranking Scientologists who are known to donate millions to Scientology. Not great, you guys, that there is no shortage of money going into Scientologists. There's no shortage of millionaires being literally catered to by, including but not limited to, slave kids. Connor's also registered at the same condo and has been living in Clearwater since his father uprooted them from Los Angeles in 2016, selling his 2 LA properties for $51 million. Selling. Tone owns 5 units in the Skyview, including a double-floored penthouse, and sold another 5th-floor pad for $525,000 to Mexican Scientologist Mike Moiseev in May last year. Public records show that Tom has spent over $3 million revamping his penthouse on top of the $9 million he paid for it. The renovations include $1.5 million on handmade interior fittings made by specialist Mortensen Woodwork, $416,000 to craftsmanship installations for designer furniture, $51,000 on the Cleaners A&A Cleanup Inc., $299,000 for smart windows and tap glass window and corp, and $261,000 on painting with 5 arrows. Well, I guess allegedly he didn't use any Sea Org workers, and the receipts are there, you guys. I mean, the receipts are there. Do you think Cruise kids got special treatment? Thank you for the question, Stevie. Yes, celebrity kids get special treatment. Now, does that mean that is great for them? No, because they're still being given handlers. They're still being handled with ethics at the hotel. They're still being sent to go get sec checked. They're still being held up against their will. They're still being sent to do disgusting courses that are grooming them to become auditors themselves and therefore be part of the abuse chain. And even Isabella Connor is literally, talked about this. Like, she had a whole success story, Isabella Connor. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, but Isabella Connor, Isabella Cruise. I didn't pull it up for here because I just remember that she did have this. Oh, here. Actually, let's share this. So you guys can see the special treatment that they're getting and what this is actually really fully resulting in. Here's a story how Scientology saved Tom Cruise's daughter's Isabella's life. I mean, incredible how Scientology saved her literal life, you guys. I mean, hope that you are fastened with your full-blown seatbelts here, because let's find out what this article is pitching, because I just found this article by being reminded about this crazy success story. Isabella Cruise's relationship with Scientology is completely separate from her father's controversial involvement with Scientology. Okay, well, this is already giving a little PR cleanup vibes. Isabella Cruise credits Scientology for saving her and helping her find clarity despite initially being resistant to the training and internship. I mean, again, you guys, this is how it's pitched inside of the hotel. The sacrifice, the fact that it's so hard, the fact that it's so disgusting. It's all being pitched to you like, oh, you just have to get through it. You just have to love it, and Isabella's choice to join Scientology was her own as an adult, challenging assumptions that she was forced into it by her father, Tom Cruise. I mean, again, you guys, if you have been groomed since you were a child, if you're speaking the language that they're teaching you, what choice is a child really making? They made us what they wanted. They made us mini proteges of themselves, mini proteges of disgusting convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard. That's what we're sounding the alarm code red on. None of these kids deserved as children to be fed disgusting rhetoric from such an unhinged, disgusting maniac. Isabella had a secret Scientology wedding with a non-Scientologist husband, Max Parker, indicating her continuing involvement with the institution. Tom Cruise was recently rumored to be leaving Scientology, BS, But before that, Isabella Cruz, his adopted daughter with Nicole Kidman, shared that Scientology saved her via an email newsletter. Isabella, who goes by Bella, has been estranged from her mother due to the commitment in Scientology. And here is how Scientology's duties made her go from thinking it wasn't right for her to knowing without any doubt that it does. So again, this is how malleable kids can be. For people in the back that don't understand why we are screaming about kids. Because yes, she went from thinking it wasn't right to all of a sudden thinking without any doubt that it was amazing. So again, all of our instincts were turned against us. We didn't understand what in the hell these people wanted. We were putty in their hands, and we couldn't be more disgusted or nauseated. On March 19, members of Scientology received a promotional email from Cruise talking about her success story in her internship. And she started off by claiming, "We all need to do this," capital letters. I mean, I want you guys to literally see this for yourselves. We all need to do this, capital letters. Wow, what an accomplishment. I've written this success many, many times over in my head. I wanted to get it just right, but now it's time and I've forgotten many of my mentally penned notes. But here comes the real one. She then admitted that she wasn't interested in the training at first. This journey started with my training, and even that was a bull bait. So see you guys, bull bait. I'm sure you've learned from listening to us ad nauseum about this, but bull bait is when you are having a reaction to something because you just don't like it. Like you just have like a adverse reaction to it. So here she's talking about how the journey started like that for her. Like she's like, this is weird. What in the literal hell is this? I knew I needed it, but every fiber of my being fought me on it. I mean, this is a type of lines that I read and literally ignite the fire in me yet again, because I see through the desperation. I see through the red flags, the smoke signals she's literally trying to talk about. Because again, you guys, in Scientology, we were abused, and then we had to convince ourselves how the abuse was great and wonderful and amazing. So in what world are children safe when they get abused? And if they don't regurgitate how amazing it was, they get told that there's something disgusting about them, that they're degraded, that they're disgusting, that they're not making case gain, all the other euphemisms used to degrade underage kids so that these adults could control us. I mean, it's all sadistic and disgusting. I knew I needed it, but every fiber in my body fought me on it. Said I was the PC, that if I did it, I'd get nothing from it, and many more delightful little criticism. I was overwhelmed before I started. I mean, imagine this is the success. I mean, again, the success was, and how these adults pitched it to us. It's like, oh, you're going to find it really hard, but you're going to love it at the end. So again, so as a child, you're there hating it, thinking it's disgusting, being revolted by everything that's going on, but you have nothing to grab a hold of because everyone inside of the hotel is on this frenzy hype. Everything is amazing. Everything is wonderful. I want Hubbard. We're really going to save a world. And meanwhile, you know, you just think there's something wrong with you. I mean, it must be me then. Finally, when she did get into it, there was still something missing from it. Finally, I got through, and what a ride. It was an incredible, but I was bad indicators at the end. She wrote, I had gotten so much out of it, but there was something missing, and it really was messing with me hard. I couldn't figure out what it was. Ironically, the internship that was dreading after the training would become the cure to her doubts. The next thing was the internship, and Lord knows I was not into it. I mean, how many more negative things does she have to say before anybody believes this poor girl? She continued, I tried to get into it, but it was even worse than the training. I had so many reasons and excuses as to why I didn't want to do it, and it just wasn't right for me. But it turned out that it was exactly what I needed. So again, you guys, this idea that we have to sacrifice ourselves to throw ourselves in this disgusting role play of adults, where every fiber of our body was saying, this is disgusting, this is making me nauseous. And they trained us. They literally trained us. They gave us a diploma. They certified us to take it and to pretend that it was a great idea and to pretend that it was wonderful and amazing. You know what? You're seeing it for yourselves. You're seeing it for yourselves. How many times has she had to tell us that she was disgusted? She didn't want to do it. Every little fiber of her body, Lord knew that it was the wrong thing to be doing, but there she was. And now she's saying that she loved it and she was amazing and she did it. Soon, she was that annoying girl in the org who would just talk endlessly about how incredible training is and how phenomenal the internship is. So I'm glad that you said that, Isabella. You were that annoying girl, because that is what these Scientology people become, you guys. Like, just annoying. My God, it's so amazing. The training, the processing, the training. It's so phenomenal. It's so amazing. It's so incredible. It's just so uncovered. It's just such a genius. And it's just a stream of cognitive distortion, dissonance, AF, as they have to hype themselves over having been abused, over having survived these abusive, disgusting power dynamics that we were being put to do. And everyone at the hotel literally pretending the power dynamics couldn't be more beneficial. We'll double check on that power dynamic imbalance. Scientology parents from literal hell. Go double check on that. You're being literally questioned on your certainty that this technology was so amazing and wonderful. Talking about her journey as an auditor, she recalls, I dragged out the testing and correction. I just made it through the drilling, and then I finally began my auditing adventure. And wow, I wasn't prepared. This is what I had been searching for, the missing piece. Suddenly, everything began to make sense. My metering, wow, it became clear. I actually knew my metering, and my metering means that you know how to read the Ouija board BS machine that they have you read as you're blabbing all these questions and asking all these disgusting things inside of these sessions, you guys. She added, even to the point of having any doubt on a read, I knew it wasn't a read. So when you're asking the question, have you ever committed a felony for which you have not been arrested? So the needle has to move at the very end of the word arrested, and then it reads, and then you have to take up that read. So that's what she's talking about. That, you know, they're always coordinating your eye and your question and the way you say it, and they're drilling you and drilling you and drilling you and forcing you to be doing these disgusting questions with dolls. First with dolls, let's not forget. Oh, just a doll. It's a doll. It's a drill. It's all just make believe. Start of drill, and then all of a sudden you're at the hotel and it's not a drill. All of a sudden you're at a hotel and you have a video camera pointed at you, and you have all these people at the case supervisor office checking and reading and ensnaring themselves, disgustingly checking out what children are doing inside of the hotel with adults, and thinking, nothing's wrong here. Everything's great. We're going to save our world by doing this disgusting role play. The technology, the tech that I felt was wavering and on the verge of disappearing from my mind became a part of me. Ew. Imagine L. Ron Hubbard becomes a part of you. Imagine that, you guys. It's not like, oh, go play piano and find yourself in piano. No, this is become L. Ron Hubbard. Become L. Ron Hubbard. Here's the questions L. Ron Hubbard said to ask. Here's the way that L. Ron Hubbard said to ask the questions. Oh, you know what? You're not sounding like L. Ron Hubbard right now. Why don't you just do this correction? I'm going to send you back to the L. Ron Hubbard tapes and go listen to L. Ron Hubbard. See how he sounds. Because how he sounds is how you need to sound when you go audit others. If you don't sound like L. Ron Hubbard, then you're doing it wrong. So that's what she's saying, that she's saying that that's now become a part of her. Like she really knows it to the point that it's just there. I never thought I could know something like that. Isabella Cruise chose to be a Scientologist. Wrong answer. Kids didn't choose jack shit. Corporate media idiots. You're all a bunch of idiots. You're all trying to make children be the ones to really take the blow of being ensnared in this disgusting scam. Imagine, it's so pathetic to see it in writing, you guys, to see. It's like, no wonder we're in the literal place where we are today. No literal wonder. Despite a tough time in her fruitful Scientology training, Isabella made a choice as an adult to join Scientology, contrary to assumptions that her father forced her into it. Speaking to The Sun in 2019, Nicole said, "Motherhood is about the journey. There are going to be incredible peaks and valleys, whether you are an adopting mother or a birth mother." She continued, "What a child needs is love. They have made choices to be Scientologists. It's our job as parents to always offer unconditional love. Despite their strained relationship, Bella's Instagram name in Bella's Cruise, Bella Kidman-Cruise, which fans think is a hint that she and the birth actress may be working on their bond." Nicole and Tom's custody agreement was never made public until now. They also refused to talk about their marriage to the press, but it seems like Bella and her brother Connor Cruise have sided with her father since they were kids. Again, this false pitch from the media that the kids all just decided this, as if literal Marty Rathbun hasn't been bragging about how he was locking up those kids inside Celebrity Center, and he was telling them that Nicole was a piece of shit. And that she had want nothing to do with her. Like parental alienation 101, abusive AF. That level of parental alienation performed by a disgusting psychopath, child abuser at large, Marty literal Rathbun, who had his chance to abuse me, locking me up. You know what in the hell you did, disgusting Marty Rathbun. Here's timeline of the ex-couple adopting their eldest kids, not talking to their mother. So Tom Cruise and Nicole, here's the whole timeline. I mean, one good thing that the corporate media did, you guys. So you can see the whole timeline here. On December 24th, 1999, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman tied the knot in Telluride, Colorado. And then in 92, Tom and Nicole adopted Bella. And then in 95, Tom and Nicole adopted Tom Cruise. And then 96, Tom and Nicole start filming Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, who, you know, I mean, in what world is Eyes Wide Shut not Scientology on steroids? Never mind that, you know, they were using a hotel, but let's not digress. Then Eyes Wide Shut premieres in 1999. Then Tom claims in 2000 that he was, that's when his marriage broke down. Nicole said that they still celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary and they were still intimate, resulting in a pregnancy that she then lost. This is 2000. And then in 2001, February, Tom and Nicole announced their amicable separation. It wasn't amicable. We know that thanks to Marty Rathbun, how not amicable that separation was, with Marty Rathbun being used and tapped to infiltrate their marriage, to tap her phones, to act disgusting and unhinged, completely deranged, completely unhinged, completely just a psychopath. August 8, 2001, Tom and Nicole divorce was finalized. Tom got full custody of Isabella and Connor. Isabella Cruise had a secret Scientology wedding. In 2015, Bella married Max Parker, who's not a Scientologist. They had a secret Scientology wedding. I mean, again, you guys, this idea that the guy is not a Scientologist, I mean, I don't know. Doesn't pass the smell test because, again, they control who comes in their lives. If they're not a Scientologist, they cannot speak in the language. I mean, that doesn't pass the smell test to me. Celebrities are monitored within an inch of their lives as to who's on their lines. And not being a Scientologist is a huge red flag. So she and Max just didn't want a full media attention. They had the secret wedding. Nicole didn't attend. Tom was banned despite paying for the ceremony. I mean, that's just weird. Like, why would you ban your father that you really think is amazing? The eldest Cruise offspring clarified that she was on speaking terms with her parents, but she didn't want the media attention. I mean, why the media attention? Like, in what world would the media attention be gotten if they just did a private wedding? Of course, we talked to my parents. Anyone who says that otherwise is full of shit, she told the Daily Mail in March 2016. So even Mac's parents weren't at the wedding. His mom, Beverly Parker, said, we didn't want to go, but we didn't want to go, but we knew all about it. We stayed away. We didn't want to be the media circus. What? You guys, what media circus? What media circus was going to happen if they got a private wedding done? Their pair of them are lovely. I'm very pleased. She's also weighed in on Bella's distant relationship with her parents, saying that she's getting away from Hollywood by residing in England with Max. So, I mean, maybe. So, thank you, Stevie, for that question. I know that was a long-winded answer, but there's a special treatment. I think that's the special treatment that these kids get. Treatment that at one point in time, we, the Scientology kids, thought that, yeah, it must be great to be a celebrity. You really get treated special. But you see from this girl, she's still being forced to do the audits, forced to do the grooming courses, and handled in ethics. And those are the three things that Scientology is. And those are the three things that we need to advocate against for kids. What a cop out on the adults. If COS, the org said it was okay, so it must be. What happened to the critical thinking skills makes me want to cry and scream at the same time. Thank you, B. Taylor. I mean, that is really the tragedy of this, like our parents' critical thinking skills were compromised AF. And it's so unthinkable and horrific to think what L. Ron Hubbard proteges became at the hands of disgusting L. Ron Hubbard. Because again, it's like, we don't take it personal anymore. It's like Jenna's mom and my mom and Aaron's mom and Nora's mom and Laura's mom. And it's all these moms did the same exact thing. Nicole Kidman did this to her kids. She was a Scientologist. She was a high-ranking Scientologist. All these people that want to water down. Oh, she really left. She was really doing it there because Tom was telling her BS. She got up to OT3. She climbed her way up to that level. Katie Holmes got to OT7. So she went even higher than Nicole. Imagine that. And again, E. Taylor, that we just have to raise awareness and we have to continue calling out these things. It is the auditing children and auditing adults that I can't get past. The adults have to have known. I mean, yes, man, the adults know because the adults got the audits, the adults got the ethics, and the adults did the courses. So again, this is not a situation where parents thought that their kids were going to be safe a la Larry Nassar, and then it turned out that they weren't. This is a case where the parents were the danger. Imagine that. The actual parents are the ones that put us in literally harm's way. I mean, and again, it's taken us our entire life to understand just how insidious, how systemic, how endemic, how this isn't personal. Like, none of us kids that grew up in Scientology deserved it. We could almost argue that even our parents didn't deserve it, but they became part of a culture that normalized this at scale. And that's why all parents are in the same bucket. There is no other bucket for them to go. There's no other narrative or watering it down anymore. They've done that enough. They've done that for decades. They've refused to look at the facts. They refuse to understand the facts. They just continue to act infantile and that they can believe they're saving our world by enslaving kids. But you know what? That delusion needs to be popped, because that delusion is called cognitive distortion from hell, that at best is infantile, at worst is completely abominable and depraved, and therefore indefensible. Then confusion, coercion, control. Yeah, pretty much. Confusion, coercion, control. CCC. CCC. Check, check, check. Bless the kids in Scientology. Thank you, not a truth. Get the kids out. But I just where Nicole's adopted children when Tom divorced her, why didn't she fight for custody? I mean, again, you guys, like, Marty Rathbun, we'll probably have to talk about this later, but Marty Rathbun did a whole op on Nicole and Tom. And these unthinkable, disgusting ops, infiltrations of marriages by these degenerates that were working inside of a hotel, that were spying, that were pretending that they knew how to do something because they completed a 2-week course that they learned from a convicted felon. I mean, literally, there's nothing about what they did that was real. They wore fake military uniforms. They passed out fake certificates, fake diplomas, 2-week courses, and then all of a sudden they were know-it-alls on a subject that even the convicted felon didn't know. So my best guess is she didn't fight for custody because she was intimidated. But I mean, Nicole, what type of skeletons did you have on your closet that you didn't fight harder? You know, and with what straight face can you really say that kids need to be loved unconditionally, even if they choose to be in Scientology, as if you're really telling us that kids make that choice? And it's like, it's not okay for Nicole Kidman to be pitching that, because she knows, again, you guys, she was a Scientologist. You know the technology, Nicole Kidman. So stop pretending that you're stupid and you're an idiot and you had no idea. You knew what Marty Rathbun was doing. You knew what the suppressive person declared technology was all about. And yet you decided to walk out of those kids, leave them with those unhinged men, and, you know, better luck next lifetime is all those kids ever get, you guys. So, no, not okay. Yeah, power control are nasty addictions. I mean, that's what they become. They become addicted to their own power derangement dynamics that they get to play out in those hotels from this like fake structure of hierarchies that make no shred of sense, you guys. Brenda, I shouldn't judge, but why does no one question if in fact Nicole abandoned her kids to the cult? I mean, that's what happened, right? I'm sure there's context. I'm sure she had some, you know, horrible contracts that she had to like sign to never talk about this and never talk about that. But I mean, still, it doesn't make sense that those kids were left there. I mean, but then again, we go into, you know, one of the questions that was asked of me yesterday on the live is like, Serge, are you being too hard on the parents? Maybe they were too gullible and naive. And my answer is no. All the parents knew. All the parents knew. Nicole Kidman knew what she was leaving those kids to face. So why didn't she fight harder? I mean, again, if you were if you're a mom dog and you have your dog be taken to a place where the dogs are being abused, then how can you live with yourself? That's what I'm asking all Scientology parents. All of them. Why have none of them repudiated what they did? Why have none of them come forward with anything they regret at the hotel other than to project, oh, my kids abandoned me. You left them there. You put them there. You groomed them for decades. Sorry, the parents aren't the victims. The parents are the abusers and the oppressors and the co-conspirators. That's what it's called. Look at Ruby Frankie, Scientology parents. If you are the one administering the felonies on your child, you are the Ruby Frankie. You are the one committing aggravated child abuse at an industrial size scale. And it took all Scientology parents to drink the toxic Kool-Aid from convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard so that you all of a sudden would check out your critical thinking skills, leave them at the door of the hotel, and walk into a hotel filled with kids that no one is around to call out because I guess they just don't feel like it. They're just like, better luck next lifetime. And it's just not enough. I wish more of these high-profile ex-Scientologists like Nicole Kidman would be far, far more vocal and expose the harm in Scientology and involvement in it. It would help the cause immensely. I mean, yeah, exactly, selfless self. I mean, imagine the power if Nicole Kidman, if Katie Holmes, if Laura Prepon, all of these mothers, they're all mothers. All high-ranking Scientology mothers. And in the year 24, they're just better luck next lifetime, children. Hope that all the children being trafficked and abused inside of the hotels right now figure it out for themselves. You can figure it out. I'm too busy booking my Balenciaga ads. Right, Nicole Kidman? As if that little campaign is not landing you in other places. But let's not digress. What's up, Laura? If they're 17 or younger, they need loving, stable homes where they're safe and grown to happy, secure adults. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's the problem with even the kids that don't end up in the Sea Org. As long as the parents are teaching the children the disgusting euphemisms of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard, they are literally cementing the abusive relationship from the get-go. Our parents trained us like dogs to learn that we could be at the drop of a hat of a hotel random. They could just be calling, Laura, you are a degraded being. Laura, you are out ethics. Laura, you are in a condition of treason. You couldn't be more out ethics. You couldn't be more disgusting. You couldn't be more needing a committee of evidence. A random person in a hotel that was not her mother, was not her father, was not her educator, was not nothing, was just a random, would just blab that out to her. And as children, unfortunately, our parents taught us what lower condition was, what out ethics was, what degraded being was. So as soon as an adult wanted to abuse us, we were there, prepped to hear it all, to be diagnosed by these people that complete a 2-week course. Yeah, it's a mind wipe, mind prime, mind fuck, mind control. Yeah, it's all just ruled by domination. KDD, thank you, Serge. I'm finally able to be mad at the root of my problems. My mother. I was not an adult at 4. Absolutely, Katie. And that's why we are denouncing the Scientology parents because they knew. That's the plight. That's what we have to reconcile as kids. Like, we don't have that, situation like, I don't know, the US gymnastics girls that were being abused by Larry, but the parent wasn't in on it. That's the problem that we have with our parents. We were being adulticized, put in harm's way, and then being controlled with rhetoric that was way over our head. What the hell type of concepts that they were using. So that's why the alarm code red needs to be sound. And yes, we need to include all of these women, all Scientology mothers. Nicole Kidman is a Scientology mother. I don't even give an F that you left, Nicole. It couldn't be more irrelevant. You climbed up to OT3. You got service by children. You got ethics handled by children. You got audited by children. You got courses by children. And guess what? You're just like another Scientology mother. In what world do you think you spent how many decades in there, Nicole, and then come out to be like, oh no, I left. I'm good. I'm going to go really start a new family. Gonna just do a little quick rebrand, and then all of a sudden everyone will forget, and we can just be like, oh yeah, I'm really private about my marriage. Well, you know what? We're not private about your marriage. Seeing that your marriage was a copycat of the dysfunctional marriage our parents had. Imagine all of these family dynamics are being exposed. I mean, as if we don't see my own mother-father relationship, the dysfunctional dynamic my own father and mother had in Elena and Grant Cardone. I mean, they're all following the same policy, you guys. They're all literally, like, when you say puppets, when you say copycats, when you say people that don't have an original thought for themselves, that are just like walking regurgitators of whatever L. Ron Hubbard wrote in a book. It's like, yeah, it's a tragedy. We wouldn't wish this on our literal worst enemy to end up like that. And yeah, that's exactly the point. What does Nicole lose by telling the truth now? There's nothing to lose. Like, seriously, like, all we need is for all the kids to be taken out of there. That's the only power that we have as trauma victims. The only power that we want is for other kids not to be ensnared and abused in the exact same way they got away with it with us. They got away with it because it's not getting called out. They got away with it because it was being whitewashed. They got away with it because, again, all Scientology parents, stand to lose face AF. I mean, imagine being a Scientology parent. Imagine being a top donor Scientology parent that gave millions to child trafficking while they were part of the child trafficking scheme. It's not like, oh, I gave it to them and I had no clue. They were getting serviced at the hotel. So Katie Holmes came to the hotel. Nicole Kidman came to the hotel. John Travolta came to the hotel. They all came to the hotel. They all just came to the hotel. I mean, Katie Holmes' handler, Jessica Feshbach, was a child in Scientology that was then trained to be an auditor, was then trained to be her handler. And I'm sure, Katie, that you would be aware where Jessica comes from. So just double check. Do you think this movement is more affected than any other protesting in the past? I don't know, Amanda. I mean, I think that we're just where we are. I think that, they're never been protested for being child traffickers. Our generation hasn't protested them. And like we said yesterday on the live that, we're not here with a, ooh, we got you moment. Scientology parents already know what they did. There's nothing for us to break news to them. Nothing we say in these lives is breaking news to Nicole Kidman. Nothing we just said in this live is breaking news to Katie Holmes. So just really think about like the fact that they know what in the hell we're talking about. But again, it's like, what good is it for them to just sit there and holding on to everything and not using their platform, not using their power to advocate for kids stuck and ensnared in these hotels? I mean, Maybe the fact that they didn't happen to them as kids, you guys. Like, again, it's like, that's why Jenna's there. That's why Aaron's there. That's why Nora's there. That's why Liz Gail is out there. Liz Ferris, Laura. Like, we all had this as kids. We all didn't have an advocate. Nobody gave an F that we were being abused inside of those hotels. Nobody gave an F. They couldn't have been less given an F. So there has been a lot of advocacy and protesting of Scientology, but none for the kids. So that's why I feel that, you know, what we are asking is for kids to stop being audited, stop being handled in ethics, and stop being groomed in disgusting courses. So that has never been accomplished. Nobody sound the alarm on that when we were getting those things. And that was the thing that we all got as kids. We all got audited. We all got handled in ethics, and we all got put to do this disgusting grooming courses. And guess what? That's our common denominator, something we were all exposed to, and something that was abusive across the boards to every single last child that literally was ensnared by your own parent to be doing this. And again, it's like, the parents play such an important part because we would have never trusted to be there. I mean, as if literal Bella Cruz didn't say that it felt bad with every fiber of her body, but her dad says it's great. So that's what ends up happening. Katie, makes me so mad. I can't talk about this with my mother. She plays dumb. Like, it was only about self-help improvement. Why do I complain? How can I be mad at her? She just wanted the best for me. Well, yeah, Katie D. And I mean, that, again, that's the gaslighting 101 of the parents. You know, it's like, no, mom, you need to get your ethics in. Like, just talk to her in Scientology terms. No, mom, actually get your ethics in. Actually, we're going to restimulate your withholds. You know, those things that you told us needed to be restimulated. Let's restimulate you. Let's, if you want to play dumb, let's make sure you raise your confront of evil. Because if you're going to come to me teety-weety saying that, oh, everything was great and we really wanted to save our world, and why were all children being enslaved, locked up against their will? Because that would be great for all Scientology parents to start answering to us with a straight face. So I completely understand your plight. And again, you know, these Scientology parents have a lot to reconcile, and they are not children themselves. So they need to put their big boy pants on and actually face the facts as they are. And they can double check the L. Ron Hubbard reference if they have a question. Just ask your mom, why did all children end up getting locked up against their will through so-called audits? In what world was that self-help, mom? You know, you have to make it so concise and so to the point, KDD, because, you know, yeah, Scientology parents are all about blaming everyone else except themselves. And there's no place where accountability can take place. I mean, they even taught us that at the hotel. It's time for these parents to write their overs and their withholds and write down every crime they don't want the FBI to know about them, so that that level of transparency actually helps children ensnared. Because, I mean, luckily you survived. I mean, I know how broken we are after we go through this, but, you know, demented domination. I mean, that's good words right there, Florence. It's just demented. It's just demented. Totally demented. Oh, hell no. Good afternoon. What's up? Oh, hell no. Larry. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. As a mom, I can't even. I lived across from Cece, but I was too young to get it. I do now. Well, thank you, Larry, that you get it now. And yeah, I'm glad. The more that we get it, the more that it cannot happen, you guys. Because remember, all of this happens because nobody has a clue, right? Like, society doesn't want this. Oh, hell no. We saw at least 2 kids coming out of the Austin org, but I heard that there were quite a few that were loaded into a large SUV right behind the org, hoping not to be seen. No parents, I heard. I mean, again, you guys, thank you for that update. So for all the Scientology parents that are under the radar that go, oh, that used to happen back in the day. Look, still happening in literal Austin. So that's why we have to continue to expose and ask questions. Traumatized should be the one of the yeah, it's all just trauma AF, you guys. Absolutely. Yep. All the abusers and enablers need to take accountability. This includes the parents that turn their children over to the hotels. Monster toddlers in adult bodies. I mean, that's what the alarm code red is being sounded on. That is exactly what. It's because monster toddlers in adult bodies are not safe to have unfeathered access to kids. You need grounded adults. You need adults that will live in reality, that won't find euphemisms to, circumvent reality and create a gaslighting environment where all kids are being told that they're on the same exact playing field as an adult. We see how that's working out for Sabrina Cardone being adulticized. And while she might think she's great and she's wonderful, we can see all the signs of abuse, literally. Yep. And this is another excellent point to be making. Parents do not have the right to consent for their children. Like, they cannot override the consent. And that is being questioned in this year 2024. Like, again, we're not talking about a hotel where, people are praying or doing something that is actually religious. Again, with their BS pitch about how their religious services go from, 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. And then when you really pull down to, well, what religious services? Grooming courses, ethics handlings, and audits. Well, what happens in the grooming courses? Well, they're taught with dolls to, become completely desensitized to disgusting things, including but not limited to sexual assault, including but not limited to verbal assault and sexual verbal assault, including but not limited to all these things that can happen in a session. And again, it's like the parents know that this happens. Oh, well, that's great, KDD. I'm glad. I said a simple comment on one of your earlier streams and you called me out. I did. Made me realize the BS was Sciento. I will never be able to thank you enough. Well, great, KDD, because this is what this journey is all about. Survivors can empower survivors. There was nothing wrong with us as kids. We were sold a bunch of BS fake euphemisms concocted by an indicted felon that our parents fell under the spell of. And, I understand. We feel for our parents. I feel for my parents. I see the tragedy that it was. You guys, this is not we're not coming from some sort of moral superior complex that they had in calling them out. Because that's the disgusting thing that Scientology does with people. They always call people out from this like morally superior high ground that doesn't exist. All that exists is call out the stupidity, call out the disgusting, insensitive abuse of minors that shouldn't be happening, and us now as adults, we did realize everything that was done was wrong. And we were deeply programmed. So I'm glad that you were able to, discover some truth. That really makes me happy. Thank you. Apollonia, thank you. It seems like aside from the death of Lisa McPherson and others, The abuses of the children should have been absolutely first on the list. Apollonia, yes. The abuses of the children should have been first on the list in the very, very, very beginning of this whole entire thing. All the way back to Shelley Miscavige being trafficked by L. Ron Hubbard at the age of 12. Like, she didn't consent to that. And it's really that simple. All the way back to David Miscavige being trafficked across state lines by his child trafficking father, sending him to L. Ron Hubbard from New Jersey to California. So the literal leader of the whole movement is a child trafficking child that at 16 got sent across state lines to be put in L. Ron Hubbard's hands. So now him and the child trafficked wife are the ones that everyone's really tapping to save our world. I mean, how dysfunctional can this possibly be? And, you know, I'm glad that you guys are all getting it and hearing it, that yes, the kids that's stuck in there, they don't have a voice. They don't have an advocate. Everybody in there is on a delusion of grandeur that is being called out for how unthinkable it is, truly. The child trafficking and abuse might be the downfall. Very few of us out there in the real world will stand for those things. Correct. Correct. Oh, hell no. I mean, that's what we're at here. You know, nobody wants to stand for disgusting, unthinkable abuse. So this is literally the love letter to our parents. If our parents don't want to see it as a love letter, you know what? Project away. See if we care. The love letter is to the kids being abused. The love letter is so that parents don't get ensnared and defrauded and don't waste any more time or breath propping up a convicted felon that should have never been propped up in the first place. He was a disgusting, deranged monster. Get over it already. Face the facts. Face the music. All Scientology parents, face it. Face it head on. Stop not confronting the facts. Stop making yourself the victim. You were not the victim. You could have been victimized as a result of this fraud, but you brought your kid in. And given the fact that you brought your kid in, your child's the one that paid the bigger price every single time. That's why we say kids cannot consent. Because if you did this as an adult, then you did this as an adult. So Joe Buchanan, I kind of wish I was accessible to have someone in there undercover, but I know that that could never happen. I mean, no, Joe, somebody undercover could be there right now for all we know. I mean, it's so easy for it to happen. How many under the radars are already there and can see that there's tons of kids? If you didn't see it before, start seeing it under the radars and then start documented and then start doing something to make it stop. Because what you're saying, Joe, is exactly what should be literally happening right now. People getting receipts, present time receipts, so that none of these children are being put in harm's way anymore. Children with indoctrinated parents are the easiest targets for abuse. Now, dress it up as exciting adult activity and you may have a devotee for life, and that's disgusting to allow. I mean, Macmidro Giggle, I don't know how to say that name, but very good point. Hashtag parents are responsible for the children. 100%. Yes. Thank you for catching up. Joy, growing up, I thought Saito was just weird Hollywood. The aftermath told what I thought was isolated incidents. Now we know that it's a movement that can stop until it stops. Yes, Joy. Thank you for saying that, and thank you for being here. All right, you guys. Well, that's what we have on this. We will be covering way more. I thank you for all your advocacy. I thank you for all your time. I thank you for listening to these hard conversations. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart to lend us your time and your voice to fight together for this literally rightful cause for a day where there is not going to be the unfeathered access that was allowed to take place when we were there ourselves as kids. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all soon.